So, welcome everyone. I'm Shuronda Robinson. I am the CEO of Adisa Communications and the brand new, sparkling baby brand new CEO of Austin Woman Magazine. And you have just entered into an amazing community and an amazing space where we're going to talk and spend time working and focused on you. And you've given yourself a gift in this moment, and you've given yourself me a gift by being here. So I just want to welcome you and let you know how much I appreciate your presence today. There's been a lot of conversation about an oncoming recession, right? And it's interesting how it's happening at the end of one year in the transition into a new year when people are deciding what they want for their lives. And so what I decided in my own heart and in my own mind was that I would offer a space for all of us to recession-proof our lives. And so we'll talk about what that means. So for how many of you, this is the first time with me in this kind of workshop? Just raise your hand, let me know. Okay, quite a few. Probably a good reason for that. I got certified as a life coach in 2009 and started the Joyful Living Center in 2009 as well, where I coach mainly women, but entrepreneurs, people who really wanted to up-level their expression on the planet. And then in 2012, my father passed away. And I had called my business the Joyful Living Center, but I wasn't feeling very joyful. And so I stopped doing workshops and that sort of thing at that point in time and never really picked it up. And I was reminded recently that we're all endowed with gifts and talents and abilities. And if we don't use those gifts and talents and abilities, like the universe is not going to wait on me for people to learn and to grow. It's going to keep that going. And so I better get with it. And so this is my new year, new me declaration that I'm going to do what I love, which is really supporting people and understanding themselves, understanding how the universe works, and creating spaces where we can cheer each other on and grow as people. So that's why we're doing it. This is a big moment for me, honestly, because it is a declaration to the universe that, yes, I love this work and I love supporting people in this way. And I get to offer that to you. And you all are a gift to me because you showed up. So I would just want to say, thank you so much, and I appreciate you. So I'm in full gratitude, and I want you to know that gratitude is the fastest route. If you're looking for a fast route to success, it comes in the form of gratefulness. But my wish for you is to experience absolute clarity, peace, and joy in 2023. And so today, we're just going to jump right in. We're going to talk about how we recession-proof our lives through designing what is ideal for us. And there'll be a lot of activity. I'm going to put you in some small groups so you can get to know folks in this amazing community so that you can connect with others and really support each other as we do this. And I'm going to suggest that we use this moment as an opportunity to unplug. And so I'm going to give you a technique as we get going to do that, because I know it's early in the morning, but some of us have already, taken care of kids, maybe hopped on the computer and done emails, like we've already started our day. But I want us to kind of unplug from what's going on in the outer circumstance and all the busyness in the world and really get centered and focused on this moment, being present in the here and now. Would that be all right with you? Okay, all right. So, and this is really simple. Truth is simple. It may be hard to do sometimes, but it's really simple. And the reason it's simple is because we already all know this. What you may experience in this experience is reminders about what you already know. And there also may be insight, something that may be coming into your awareness that is new for you. But one of the simplest and easiest ways to be present, to unplug from all of the outer stimulation, is through the breath. So I'm going to invite you to breathe in a certain way. It's like, we all know how to breathe, right? We wouldn't be here if we didn't, but to breathe in a certain way that will support you in living the life of your dreams. So it's really simple. You're going to inhale to a count of 3, and then you're going to exhale to a count of 6. So your inhale is to a count of 3, 1, 2, 3. And then your exhale is to a count of 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll do this together. And then you will, through the rest of your life, hopefully, but definitely for today, we'll practice that type of breathing. All right, everybody ready? Okay, so inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And I can see that some of you are already starting to experience the benefit of that. What we're doing is we are stimulating our vagus nerve. Our vagus nerve is one of the longest nerves in our body. And we're sending instruction to our physicalness to calm down, to relax, that we're not in fight or flight mode, that the adrenaline and the anxiety that we often run off of, that we can set that aside for now, and we can tap into a deep reservoir of power within us. So inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. All right. I know there's some of you on here that either take yoga or teach yoga, and I know that there's probably a word for that type of breathing. So if you know it, go ahead and put it in the chat. But don't you feel good? Yeah. So just remember, as we are going through this experience today, to inhale and then take a long, deeper exhale as we spend our time together. Because what we're really doing is unplugging from the drama and connecting to the dream. And you have the ability in every moment, because you control your breath, to be able to do that. So some of you are these type A folks who want to get the most out of this experience and maximize your time investment. You're all busy people who have important things to do, and I salute you for that. And so I'm going to give you a few tips that will support you in maximizing this experience. So first, what I want you to consider is to write things down today. What writing does for us, and actually get a pen and a piece of paper. Some of you have gotten your annual planners, right? This is a great opportunity to use your annual planner. What writing it down does, writing things down, it connects our brain, both sides of our brain, okay? Because we're using our physical ability, and then we're also in this realm of imagination and creation. So, write down those things that matter to you today. This is not about taking notes, everything that quote unquote the teacher says, because really I'm just a facilitator, I'm here to support. But it's about writing down what strikes you and what comes up for you, and those words or phrases that mean something to you, right? So your own personal note taking, because my hope, my expectation, my desire is that you will have some aha moments. And those are insights that will transform who you are. And so you definitely want to write those down as well. Take note of those aha moments, because aha moments are transformational. Aha moments mean that the paradigm that you currently experience, that you currently project into the world, that there is a higher realm of thinking that is breaking through and shifting and moving you into a different paradigm, or taking you out of the paradigm altogether. Does that make sense? So aha moments are really, really powerful. And when you open yourself up to these types of workshops, these types of experiences, you will have aha moments in this workshop. And then in the coming days, you want to make sure you capture those, because that is your higher self. If you believe in God, or whatever you might call that, source, giving you insight into who you really are, or what you need to do next in order to make that experience come alive in your life. The third thing that I encourage for today is to breathe. And we've practiced a breathing exercise as well. And so just remember that as you're in this experience, that things are going to come up. Emotions are going to come up. The patterns, the old patterns and habits that you've had that have kept you in a limiting belief, or kept you from achieving what you want to achieve, those things are going to come up as you start to experience, what is it that I really want from my life? And so when you breathe, when you stay present, right, then you allow yourself to become available to what is seeking to emerge through you. So breath is really critical and it's important. And then take care of yourself. So if you got to get up and go to the restroom, go do that, right? If you've got to take a phone call, do that. If you've got to grab some tissue and do the ugly cry, right? Like, do that. Take care of yourself today. And in all days. We'll have maybe one break throughout this session, but if you've got to step away for a moment, please feel free to do that. For those who have registered and have showed up, you'll receive a copy of the recording so that you don't miss anything. You have to do that. All right. So I'm going to ask anybody who has their sound on to go ahead and mute yourself. All right. So yeah, can't tell you how excited I am to be here with you and to talk about your heart's desire. I will say this, it is your heart's desire that keeps you activated, right? And on a high frequency that allows you to create whatever it is you want. I was watching the news yesterday and learned that the stock market went up like 700%. The jobs report came out, right? And there's been all this talk about we're going into a recession. We've all experienced higher prices, right? The price of eggs has gone up to almost $10 a dozen. And when those kinds of things happen in the world, we start to doubt, can I make it? Can I do this? Is it possible, right? Should I buy the house? Should I plan the wedding? Should I buy the car? Should I pull my kids out of private school, right? Am I going to make it? Is this life that I'm living going to work for me? And it's all around us, everyone, right? Like it's all around us. It's like almost like it's in the water, that low grade fear and that anxiousness and that uneasiness. You have a built-in protection mechanism, if you will, from mass consciousness, and it's called your heart's desire. And so what we're doing today is getting in touch with that and staying centered and grounded in that, so that whatever's happening outside of us doesn't affect us in the same way. And it doesn't mean we're not empathetic to what's going on in the world, but we also know that what is ours because it is in our heart and we're centered and focused on it. And all of those things that we need and desire will come to us. So you already have a built-in mechanism for you to achieve what you want. And it's called what is really, 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 really deeply, deeply, seriously, sincerely, lovingly in our heart to be, do, and have. So I want you to know that as we go into the discussion today. Your heart's desire is the expression of your soul. It is what you came here to be. I was listening to one of my favorite teachers, Reverend Michael Beckwith, and he talked about, not having a career, but having a calling. Goosebump moment for me. It's like, yes, a career is something that has a start and an end, right? And I will act a certain way based on the title that I have. But a calling is how you show up in the world. It is who you are regardless of the experience that's happening around you. It is your soul expression, and your heart's desire includes that. Your heart's desire is about consciously co-creating with the laws of life. There are laws that govern the universe. Right? There are laws that govern physics. And we've all learned those, right? We've learned that water boils at 212. We've learned that, an object in motion remains in motion until another force. Like we've learned the laws of physics. What our heart's desire allows us to do is consciously co-create with the laws of life. And you're going to experience some of that today. And our hearts speak to us in two ways. What is your longing? What would you love to have? What would you love to be? What would you love to experience? Wow, you look at someone that you really admire and you go, I want to be like them. I want to experience that life. And then our heart also speaks to us in terms of our discontent. I don't like that. I'm not happy with where I am. I'm not happy with the thoughts that I tell myself. I'm not happy with the car I drive. I want a newer car, or one that gets better gas mileage, or that is electric, that has a different impact on the environment. So we live our lives between our longing and our discontent. And both elements, or both aspects of our longing and our discontent, inform our heart's desire. Now, some of us may say, well, I've been taught to be positive, to be happy all the time, and not to be discontented. And I would agree that you don't want to stay in that state and make it a place where you live and where you hang out. However, you do want to notice those things in your life that are uncomfortable to you, that you don't like. And you want to use that as a way to ask yourself the question, what is seeking to emerge through me right now? Make sense? Everybody's understanding this. This is so powerful. If we ended in this moment, you would have everything that you need in order to create the life that you would love. However, we're going to do some more work together, and we're going to have some experiences together to solidify that, to bring that into your own personal experience today. But your heart's desire is expressed through your longing and your discontent. I also want to talk a little bit about longing because I kind of feel it in the space. I talked about being grateful, right? And having gratitude, and gratefulness is the shortest route to energetically to having the life that you imagine. So we are built with longing, and whoever has their, can someone manage the sound for me, please? All right, thank you. So we've been told to be happy all the time, and I don't know if you grew up like me, in my culture, and I think it's probably and probably more than just my culture. Don't ask for too much. Don't be happy with what you have. Does that make sense? Right? Like to so when that desire for something new comes up, it's like, no, I got to be happy with what I have. And we cut off and we short circuit our soul attempting to inform us that there's more. See, we are built for more. And that longing is a way for us to understand what is the more that is calling us forward. So longing is a really, really good thing. Okay. All right. And the last thing I want to share with you in this kind of opening piece is that you are a spiritual being. And while we have a physical package that we come in, like this suit, we are humans having a spiritual experience. So you are a human being, not a human doing, right? That is spiritual in nature, meaning that there's so much to you that is unseen. And that indeed, when you connect with the truth of who you are, then you begin to experience in human form what it means to be infinite, what it means to be, do, and have all of those things that are your heart's desire, what it means to shift, change, and transform all the things that you long and wish to be different. So just know that for the purpose, and if you don't believe it past the time we spend together today, that's perfectly fine. But for the time that we are here today, we are declaring, we are claiming, we are allowing ourselves to know ourselves as a spiritual being having an infinite experience. So I also want to say to you that feel free to ask questions as we go today. Go ahead and put them in the chat, or you can, I can't see all of you. So if you want to just interrupt, please feel free to do so. This is time for you. And I want to make sure that I'm available and I'm addressing those things that are in your heart and in your mind for today. Okay. So, all right. How many of you have listened to the radio? Anybody? How many of you have Wi-Fi? Most of us are probably yes. Sakar says yes. How many of you have Wi-Fi? Most of us are probably on Wi-Fi right now. Has anyone seen a radio wave? Yeah, most of us haven't. Those of us who may have studied in college. Okay, so Joy, of course, you would have seen a radio wave. I get that. But they're invisible frequencies. And so I want to talk about how we live our lives based on the frequency that we express, the frequency that we tune into, really. So if you think of yourself as this physical being that is spiritual in nature, right? You are a receiving and transmission system. And all the frequencies that are available in the world are happening right now. All the frequencies, from joy to pain to suffering to love to bliss to intelligence to genius, like all of the frequencies are present and available right now. Have you ever met a person who's always upset, who's always like a naysayer, who's always angry? Right? They're tuning into a frequency. Have you ever met a person who always seems to find the good in everything, who always seems to connect with nature, and like little birds walk up to them, and and that they're just happy? They're tuning into the frequency of joy. So all the frequencies, right, of our experience are present right now to each one of us. There is no lack of access to those frequencies. They're available no matter what the situation is, no matter who you are, no matter where you are. But we have the ability and the capacity to decide, to choose, to intend, to expect the frequency that we want to resonate with. So back in the day, when we would listen to the radio, and you'd have the dial that you would turn, you would go from 88.7 to 94.7, right? And if you were listening to 88.7, you would hear the programming, right? The music, the DJ, the advertising that was on that channel. But if you keep it locked into the left, that's right, Lisa. But if you turn the dial, you would hear to 94.7, you would hear the programming, the DJs, the music that was on that frequency. And so depending on what you wanted to listen to that day and experience that day, you would set your dial for that programming. We do that mentally each and every moment. And so we get to choose what frequency we live our life at. And the other thing, back in the day when we listened to the radio, when you would turn the dial, there would be static in between the frequencies, right? Or you get really close to it, it'd come in light, and you'd be like, I'm close, I'm gonna hear it. And then you'd hit that frequency, you're like, okay, it's all there. That's what growth feels like. Growth feels like the static between the frequencies. And then we strike upon that frequency and I'm here. And then life says, okay, more, keep turning that dial, more. And as you really become competent and in love with the process of self-growth and self-discovery, then you will embrace that static between the frequencies. I don't know who that was for, but that was for someone. So all of the frequencies are present right now. And you get to choose as an infinite being what frequency you're on. Those frequencies are really levels of awareness. If you have a level of awareness of pain and suffering or guilt or shame, you're going to express and experience the programming at that level of awareness. If you have a level of awareness of peace, of joy, you are going to express and experience that level of awareness. Because the only way to improve your results in your life is to increase the level of awareness. So now that you know that all the frequencies, everything you want in your heart's desire already exists. It's just, what are we tuning to? Now that we know that, then we can really improve our results. So I've talked a little bit about this. Like, what are we tuning into? Are we tuning into fear, to love, to worry, to joy, to abundance? And whatever we tune into is what we experience. I'm going to stop here for a second and see if there are any questions or comments about what we're talking about before we get into the next piece, or anything that stood out for you.
I just want to say that I really appreciate the radio analogy and the appreciation for the static between the frequencies, because even intentionally going to a place, the static is to be expected. And you talked about the more we embrace and do it, maybe the faster we can turn that knob, right? The static will show up. And I think that awareness doesn't mean failure. It doesn't mean whatever. Maybe I'm headed into, the next level of frequency. So for me, it's a helpful way to look at it. I don't know the static always means you're headed there, but it certainly could mean. So that was just helpful for me. I appreciate that.
Oh, good. I'm glad you took that away from that. Yes, it's really fun when you embrace growth. When you embrace that, then, and what I find for myself is that when I become afraid usually I would use fear as a way to stop me from growing. I would go, okay, I'm scared of that. It's probably not going to work. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't like all the things I don't have, none of which are true, but all the things I don't have, I would use that to stop me and to stay stuck. And now when fear comes up in me, I'm like, ooh, I must be on the edge of a breakthrough, because everything that I know, right, is comfortable. Everything that I know. And we're always afraid of what we don't know. And so when I hit fear, I'm like, ooh, I must be headed into something I don't know, which means growth. Yeah. So embrace it. Absolutely. Fear means false evidence appearing real. FEAR. False evidence appearing real. All right. Anyone else? Thank you, Lisa, for that. You can put it in the chat, or you can share out with the group.
Yes. This is Soccer Chapman Thomas. Good morning, everyone. When fear happens, as it does to all of us, I agree. I just start going, oh, I must be headed to a breakthrough, because our bodies, our spirits, everything wants to stay where it is and where we know, because of being comfortable. And when we get outside of ourselves, we are just outside of what we consider normal. We feel just a little bit uneasy until that then becomes we just keep going and going and going and going. And complacency is where we stay. If we don't change, if we don't grow, we just become complacent and we're stuck. And so fear means let's go for it and reach the next level. That's how I look at it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shuronda, in advance for all that you're doing today. And I think it's awesome.
Thank you. You are so welcome. Thank you. Said it beautifully. It's like just going to the next level. And that going to the next level is really becoming more of who we are. I just want to make sure that that's clear, that we're not trying to, when you get really good at this and when you develop that insight and that awareness, you really begin to understand that your growth or your change is not about you becoming something different or someone different. It is about you becoming more of who you already are. It's just been covered up, right? With personality and paradigm and fear and judgment and shame and guilt and blame. Do I need to go on? Right? It's been covered up by that. And growth is about releasing and allowing. So I'm so excited for you all, because this is good stuff. And to be in this experience at the beginning of the year, when a lot of us are setting intention and doing resolutions, right? You will look back on this moment, right, at the end of 2023 and go, wow, I didn't know how transformative that experience was going to be for me. So you're in a good place, and I'm just so excited for you. Anyone else before we get into some more good stuff?
Hi, Shuronda. Good morning. It's Edie. How are you doing?
Well, good morning.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I'm so excited. This is like a revamp of 2013. Everybody, I always refer to her as my first coach ever, in which she really was. But I would also like to add that with that fear, my boss has always told me to do it afraid. And then once we do it afraid, that action removes the fear. And then being active and doing it afraid, I like the radio analogy. It helps you to find that sweet spot on the radio where, like you said, between the static and the clear. And the action actually makes it clear that you can actually hear the sound clearly, and you're no longer afraid because you're taking action to actually overcome it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for you, I'm going to say this to Edie because she just acknowledged that we've been in a coaching relationship. So I'm going to say something to you, Edie, that I normally wouldn't say to folks that I haven't worked with before. I want you to change the idea of doing it afraid, because fear isn't real, right? For you, right? You have done this enough to know that your interpretation of the signal you're getting is just growth. And so I will offer to you that fear is excitement without the breath. It is excitement without the breath. And when you breathe into that experience, then you are breaking through that old paradigm. It's mislabeled. For you, it's not fear, it's excitement. And the moment you start to breathe into it, all right, thank you. The moment you start to breathe into that, you don't have to do it afraid. You will do it with excitement. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay.
Yes,
Right.
thank you.
That was a gift that you just gave everyone.
Oh, good.
So thank you for that.
Shuronda, Shuronda, I'm so excited and happy to hear you reframe fear for excitement, because fear is also very healthy. It keeps you out of harm's way. And so what we're talking about is the growth potential and embracing that, because when you use the word fear, you naturally, for your physical well-being, you want to pull back from a place that is fear. But what you're talking about is embracing change and embracing growth, even. So that's very powerful. Thank you for
The
reframing that.
class, Shonda, teach the class, okay? That's what I wanted to say. That was beautiful. Thank you. And Happy New Year to you. All right. Anyone else?
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Corinne. Happy New Year. Glad to be here. How you doing, Shuronda? And everybody else here. I might have a different outlook on fear. I was born a Leo. I've always been a little tiger inside of me. So, but I do understand that what it is, what fear is. I see fear as a big hindrance. I've never seen fear as an outlook to maybe embrace or express myself. But I did find out there was a difference between fear and confidence, or courage, or just having courage or confidence to do some things. And so I would like to maybe change the perspective of fear and put in the word of confidence or courage. There's things that I had to go through that I wasn't afraid of, but I did have to build the courage to do it. Change takes courage. Learning different perspectives, learning another language takes courage, takes confidence, or just learning about yourself, opening up the book of yourself and revisiting some of those places that you just stay away from takes courage. But I just don't believe fear has ever been something that has been able to help me, because it's always been a hindrance in me. And I grew up in a very spiritual house. And, they always told me that, fear was of the devil. And so I took that and I ran with it. And that's not to say anything about anybody else. I'm just saying that I just don't see any benefits from being fearful. Everything that I want to tackle in my life that I was afraid of, or afraid to stand up to, from being a teenage father, a teenage single father at 17, and not knowing anything about the world, and then being placed in the world as a young adult and being treated as a grown man. There was a lot of things that came up in my life that produced fear. Fear to make me a better person, fear of change, fear to get me out of gangs, fear to get me out for dope, fear to get me out of lifestyles, that I thought that that I thought was cool. And so I think that everybody have a great point, and I think that maybe the word fear might be just being used a little loosely. But I think that we all have shown the type of courage. It takes courage for me to get on this call today. I just lost my brother. It's not a lot of men in these spaces, as you see. There's not a lot of Black men, especially my age Black men, who will sit up and take the time on a Saturday morning to be in the spaces like this. It takes courage, and it takes being fearful, you know. So I just want to thank y'all for letting me be here, though.
Yeah. No, I so appreciate you and for you sharing that. You were raised in an environment that already understood how to create, right? And the language that they used and the way they framed it for you is different than how I'm speaking about it. But you know what? I think it was Edie who said, "Do it afraid," is what you learned about. Fear is of the devil, right? Like it doesn't exist, and so therefore don't pay any attention to it. So I think that's a beautiful upbringing and a beautiful way to approach life, because courage to confront something means to come from the heart. If you go back to the root of that word, to confront, means to come from the heart. And so thank you for sharing into that. And what you did unknowingly and so beautifully was set up what I want to talk about next, so we can get to our exercise. And that is the domains of your life, right? So I'm going to talk about this first, and then I'll share a graphic to go with it. So every day we get up and we have a day of experience. And we focus our energy, our attention, our activities in different areas of our life. Today, what we're going to talk about are the 5 domains, the 5 areas that we focus our life on. And what we are going to be is intentional about it. Right? And we're going to be excited about it. And we're going to share that with each other. So when we think about our life and when we're intentional about where we put our attention, we are usually doing it in the area of career, right? That's one of the domains of your life. And if you think about it, there's some of you who may be retired, that it's about your creative expression in the world. How do that calling that I mentioned, right? Like, how do I express my gifts and what I have to offer this world? So domain number 1 is career. Domain number 2 is finances. It's about flow. It's not just about how much money do I make, but how much of abundance do I allow to circulate in my life? And, you know, one of my dear friends, every day she posts on Facebook, over exaggerating, but not by much. She posts on Facebook, someone gave her something. Someone dropped off a gift at her house. That is flow. The 3rd domain is relationships. We all have connection to someone else, whether it be a partner, whether it be a child, whether it be a coworker. Right? And those relationships are where we spend our focus. The 4th area is health. Right? We take in nutrition every day. We do some form of exercise, whether intentionally or not, right? we spend time focused on our health. And then the 5th domain is spirituality. What is our connection to source? How are we developing, staying in touch with, tuning into the source of all that is? So those are the 5 domains that we operate within. And within each of those 5 domains, there is longing and there is discontent. There is something that we want more of. Right? We might want our children to sit down and have dinner with us without the cell phone, right? We might want a promotion at work to do more. We might want more exposure. We might want a deeper meditation practice. There's longing, and then there's discontent. Like those 20, 30, 50 COVID pounds that we gained. Speaking for myself, you know, like do we want to change that? Do we want to change how our body looks? Do we want to change what our bank account looks like? Do we want to give more? So we live our life in these 5 domains, and then in each of these domains, there's longing and there's discontent. So what I'm going to invite all of us to do now is to begin to think about and feel into those areas of our life and begin to identify with what is our longing and what is our discontent. And then I'm going to put us in small groups, and we're going to do an exercise and talk about that. So 5 areas, 5 domains. What is my longing? What is my discontent? To help us think about that, I'm going to read a story to you, because another thing that we often do, well, you'll get it from the story. I'm just going to read it. So I'm looking down and reading the story here. So I'm sitting in a quiet room at the Millcroft Inn, a peaceful little place hidden back among the pine trees about an hour out of Toronto. It's just past noon, late July, and I'm listening to the desperate sounds of a life or death struggle going on just a few feet away. There's a small fly burning out the last of its short life in a futile attempt to fly through the glass of a window pane. The whining wings tell the poignant story of the fly's strategy. Try harder. But it's not working. The frenzied efforts offer no hope for survival. Ironically, the struggle is part of the trap. It is impossible for the fly to try hard enough to succeed at breaking through the glass. Nevertheless, this little insect has staked its life on reaching its goal through raw effort and determination. This fly is doomed. It will die there on the windowsill. Across the room, 10 steps away, the door is open. 10 seconds of flying, and this small creature could reach the outside world it seeks, with only a fraction of the effort now being wasted. It could be free of this self-imposed trap. The breakthrough possibility is there. It would be so easy. Why doesn't the fly try another approach, something dramatically different? How did it get so locked in on the idea that this particular route and determined effort offers the most promise for success? What logic is there in continuing until death to seek a breakthrough with more of the same? No doubt this approach makes sense to the fly. Regrettably, it is an idea that will kill. Trying harder isn't necessarily the solution to achieving more. It may not offer the real promise of getting what you want out of life. Sometimes, in fact, it's a big part of the problem. If you stake your hopes for a breakthrough on trying harder than ever, you may kill your chances for success. I love this story because we've all seen that little fly in the windowsill, at the window, right? Trying to get out. And sometimes we even try to help them, right? Like we go get us a piece of paper, or we try to like move them along, and they're just determined to make it through that window pane. And sometimes I think that's how we live our lives. We are convinced that the reason for our success in any of these areas of life is to try harder. And what I will submit and offer to you is that that might not be the best approach. So as we're thinking about and feeling into creating the life of our dreams and recession proofing our lives, I am not suggesting that we try harder. I am suggesting that we get in touch with our heart's desire and we live from that place. So now we know the 5 domains. Now we know we're not going to be the little fly in the windowsill, the window pane trying to break through the glass. We're going to go into a different direction. Make sense? All right. I wish I were doing this in person because then I could like see all your faces, but I'd love for everyone to really embrace the feeling tone of ease. And so let's practice our breathing again, and then we're going to do our exercise. All right, everybody ready together? We're going to breathe in, count of 3, and then exhale, count of 6. So breathe in, 1, 2, 3, exhale. Breathe in, exhale. Breathe in. Exhale. This is the state through which you want to create in your life, right? This feeling tone, because this is a state of ease and grace and beauty and joy and peace and love. And so as we start to think, tie our thoughts to this state of being, because you have just become this peaceful, joyful, loving person, right? So you now want to connect your thoughts to that state and create from that state. Is everybody following me on this? The mistake that people make is that they think that if they think hard enough, they work hard enough, they do, enough, or they feel worthy enough. That's a big one for us as women, right? If we feel worthy enough, then we'll have what it is we want. And the truth is that we are all in charge. We're all in control already of the life we would love to have, because we are the only ones who can induce that state of ease, that state of joy, that state of abundance. And then we match thoughts and pictures to that. A lot of times we'll go, well, let's come up with the picture of it and figure that out. And then then I can have it. But this is about being it first. This is a be, do, have universe. So being it first, acting from that place, and then allowing the universe to bring to you what it is your heart desires. So as we think into, as we vision board our lives, we want to get ourselves in a state of being, of peace and clarity and love and joy through the breath, and then connect the activity to that. All right, this is a fun activity. You're going to love this. I realized I didn't share my screen. So these are the domains that I just talked about: career, relationships, spirituality, and finances, health. Go ahead and write these down. And I'm going to put you into pairs, I think. And you're going to do an exercise whereby you dream into, from this state of joy, of peace, of love, of excitement, of gratefulness, right? All the good things. What would I love for my life to be? So here's what it is. Go with me on this. All right. Let's say we're going to time travel together. Let's say it's 2026 and everybody comes back together. The 2023 recession-proof Design Your Dream class gets back together. The alumni of that class get back together. And from 2026, you talk about the life you have created for yourself in each of these domains. So you talk about, oh my goodness, you use your imagination, because the truth is that your beingness doesn't know the difference between a memory and your imagination. You say, oh my goodness, let me tell you what's been going on since we last saw each other. Remember, you went to that workshop with Shuronda? Yeah, okay, I did too. Since we last saw each other, here's what my life has unfolded and evolved to. Here's what I've experienced in my life, in my career. Oh my goodness. And now let me tell you about the flow that has occurred in my life, the financial flow. That house I wanted to buy, I bought that, plus I invested in 5 more, right? The money that I wanted to have in my account, honey, I always have X amount, $50,000 that I can just spend. Whatever is your heart's desire. This is your life. You're designing it. You're in charge. You're creating it. In my relationships, it was tough for me in my relationship with my father. And we had an amazing breakthrough. And it wasn't because of anything that he did. It was because of how I saw myself. And now we do a father-son trip every year. We've done that for the last 2 years. Like, design it, create it, get into it. My health. You know what? I wanted to run that marathon, and I went to New York and I ran in the New York Marathon. Whatever it is that is your heart's desire, go crazy. Go big. The universe doesn't know the difference between big and small, because everything that you desire already exists, right? So it's not about that. Spirituality. I went to Tibet. I sat with the Dalai Lama, whatever, or I joined a church, and now I lead a Sunday school class, and that keeps me connected. I have a meditation practice. I walk, I pray, whatever that is for you. And that connection to source has informed my life in all of these amazing ways. So as you're designing your dream, you're saying to yourself, this is who I am. And this is what I have. And this is what I'm allowing into my experience. And I will just say this to you. Most people spend more time planning their vacation or their wedding or someone else's funeral than they do their own life. So you want to be intentional about what it is you want expressed through you for the time that you have in this body at this time on the planet. All right, everybody good? So what you're going to do when you get into groups, your groups of 2, you're going to come on together, and one of you is going to be 1, one of you is going to be 2. One goes first. Just pick a number, 1 or 2. 1 goes first, and you're going to come in, and you're going to be like, hey, it's so good to see you. Because remember, it's been 3 years since you last saw each other. Let me tell you about what's happened in my career. And then you'll run down that. And then you go, and let me tell you what's happening in my finances, in my financial flow. And you'll talk about that. Let me tell you, girl, let me tell you what's happening in my relationships, right? Let me tell you what's happened in my health. Let me tell you, you're going to go through your 5 domains. You're going to have about 3 minutes each. I know, because I want you to do some writing afterwards, right? Okay. So each person, 1 will go first. Number 2, your responsibility is just to stand there and be everything in terms of being present and available and excited and joyful for them. And don't say a word. Like, you are holding space for their dream, their design, their experience. And you're just atta-girling, atta-boying, yes, And sometimes people will forget one, like, you know, they'll talk about 4 of them and you'll go, what about your relationships? Tell me what's going on in your relationships, or what's happened in your relationships, right? So if you need to prompt them, then you do that for them. And then once they're done, you can say, it was so good to see you. Thank you. I'll see you at the next one, right? And you close yours out. And then number 2 goes. And they go, hey, it's so good to see you. Oh my goodness, it's been 3 years. Let me tell you what's happened for me in my, all right. Is this making sense, y'all, in terms of the instructions? Okay. All right. So I'm going to put you in groups. You're going to have about 3 minutes each. And then we're going to come back together and I'm going to give you a little bit of space to write down what you've talked about, because you'll have some new insight. I guarantee you in this experience, some things will come through you that you're like, ooh, okay, just go with it, right? This is a space, this is a gift you're giving yourself. All right, any questions about the instructions before I send you into your groups? And these are random groups. There we go. No questions? All right. All right, off you go. Julianne said, let's do this. Yes. Add a room. Okay. Start. Well, I heard someone say something. Who was that?
It was me. I just said that was so good.
Amanda, hello. Oh, good, good. Yes, 2026 is a good year, right?
Lots of breakthroughs.
Excellent, excellent. Well, there's some folks who had 3, so they're probably going to join us in just a moment. I will start my, right. Give folks an opportunity to come back in. Go ahead and use this time to write down some of the things you've just shared with your partner in believing. All right, they're going to come back in just a few seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'd love to have just a few of you share what that experience was like for you, that time travel experience was like for you.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Bree.
It was wonderful to talk about my future self.
Mhm.
And like it was definitely, it was different when I was writing it down versus saying it out loud. Because yes, I'm writing it down. It was just, it's like, yeah, it was exciting words. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. But when I was actually saying, this is where I am now, I don't know if I possess the vocabulary to be able to. I'm excited. I'm excited to meet her. I'm excited to be her and do that and be able to, take trips out of the country whenever I want and be able to have my own business and not be an employee of my business, have my business be a business that I can walk away from and still make money from it, So it was great. It was great. Thank you for that experience, because I would have never thought to do something like this.
Absolutely. That's what growth feels like. You're welcome. You're very welcome. And you're doing the work, right? And so I'm doing my work. Everyone's doing their work. I will say to you that you are that person now. And you are having those experiences now. And what you want to practice is you want to practice the feeling that you're in right now, Bree. You want to make that an everyday part of your life. You want to keep coming back to that feeling and make that more real, because from that feeling is where all those things exist. That is the frequency, right? That frequency that you created for 2026 is the frequency where all that exists. And it doesn't have to wait until 2026 in order for you to have it. Actually, you're having it right now because you're in that frequency. Am I making sense? So practice.
Absolutely. Like I am so moved. My face is wet now.
Yes. Oh, yeah. When the heart opens up, it releases tears. Such a beautiful thing. Yeah. So practice that frequency. And here's something else I will just say, and then I'll get feedback from one other person. Let's not be hard on ourselves. Let's be gentle with ourselves in this, right? I mean, I can hear it, y'all, like, well, I didn't do, I should have, I'm not. All of those things that we use to recalibrate ourselves down to a lower frequency. Be gentle with yourself. You are amazing. You are beautiful. You are loving. You are successful. You are worthy right now. And just breathe that in. Just allow yourself to be that and to be gentle with yourself and not allow the surface mind or the ego to say, well, you should have been, you could have done, you da-da-da, blah, blah, blah. It does all of that. It's just fear. It's just, that's just your ego's response to knowing, oh my goodness, I must get paid by the tear. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this part of the story is ending. And it doesn't want to end, but you just have to love it and say, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I love you. It's okay. It's okay. Be gentle with yourself. Good. Okay. Thank you. Who else wants to share what that experience of time travel and believing was like for you?
I'll share.
Okay.
I'm new to the space, so I figured
Yes.
I'll open my mouth.
Yes.
I loved it. I've kind of been, operating from this frequency for a while. So I just kind of tied it to what my current vision is, and really stepping into that and seeing that being real felt so good. I was like, I really did this. Like, I'm over here like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and taking all the steps, and then speaking the results was just awesome. I don't know if I'm supposed to share what I wrote down, but I
You
thought I was
can't
supposed to keep
want
it short
to.
and sweet.
Go ahead.
Okay,
So,
sure.
so hold on a second. So everyone that's on, let's all now be partners in believing. And pronounce your name for me.
Anjanae.
Anjanae, for Anjanae. Okay, all right. So we haven't seen Anjanae in 3 years.
Mhm.
Okay, we're ready. Turn your sound on. You can get loud, you can get crazy. I'll start.
Okay. Hey, girl.
Hey,
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Jay.
how's it going?
It's
What's
going
look
good.
You look great. Tell us what's
Yes.
happening.
What's going on? And let's do one. Pick one.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna pick one. That felt good, y'all. We should do that for like going around table or something. Which one do I pick? So I'm gonna pick the spirituality, because I think it's very important to be more in tune with yourself. So I definitely feel like since the last time I was here, my holistic side and my businesswoman side have merged beautifully. So we are operating together and taking over the world.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.
Oh my God. Oh, goosebumps. So good to see you.
It's so good to see you.
Thank you. Oh wow, that was fun.
Yeah. And here's the thing, folks, when we celebrate and appreciate other people, we're in that same frequency, right? So whatever's happening for Anjanae in her spirituality, her holistic practice, right? It may not be the exact thing. It won't be the exact same thing, but whatever is our heart's desire in that frequency will show up for us. Right. So beautifully done. Thank you for that. All right. So did everyone get a chance to speak life into, and from the frequency of 2026 in those 5 domains? Everybody got through that? All right. So now you have a way to actually vision your future. And I want to give you one more piece, if I may. I know some of you may have to leave, but give you one more piece, some questions that you can ask yourself as you are spending time in the frequency of love, of joy, of peace, of excitement, of gratefulness, of worthiness, of just all the things. Some questions that you can ask yourself. And I'm sorry, I'm not sure why that does that. This comes from one of my teachers, Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith. Right. So these are some questions that you can ask yourself as you're visioning. What is the highest vision for my life, my work, my team? In other words, what wants to emerge through me? All the frequencies exist. What am I going to transmit? Everything that I desire is already here for me. What is my highest vision for that? So you want to spend some time asking yourself that question. Who must I become to manifest this vision? Who must I become to manifest this vision? So I said earlier that growth is about release. It's about letting go of things. Must I become more loving? Must I become the hype person for everybody? Like, must I become more patient? Must I become more kind? Must I become more energetic? Who must we become to manifest this vision? That's the growth. That's the expansion. So what is seeking to emerge through me? And then who must I become? What is my participation, my co-creation in this? What must we let go of? And Bree, it's about being gentle. Like it's not, you should have known better, right? It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I gotta let that go. I got to let the fear go. I got to let the lies go. I got to sometimes we have to let relationships go. Sometimes we have to, let circumstances go. How do I let that go? Most of the time it's a story that we've been holding about a situation or a person, right? That we have to let go of in order for that vision to emerge. Right? And then, right, what strengths, capacities, and talents do we already possess to make this vision a reality? There is everything that is on your 5 domains. You already have the capacity, the strength, the talent to experience. You don't have to go out there and get something. It already exists for you. So you have to start where you are and activate it. Okay. So you want to take an inventory about, based on this vision about what's seeking to emerge through me, what do I already have? What do I already possess to make this vision a reality? Now, I'm going to say this. You don't need help. Okay? Because you have everything that you need. When you are tuned into the frequency of whatever it is you desire, right, then someone will help you because they're in the same programming. Does that make sense? Because it already exists. So you don't need to go get help from someone. What you have to do is activate the strengths, talents, capacities already within you. And those things that are a match to it will show up. Those people who go, oh, wow, I think that Michelle is pretty cool. How can I support her? That already exists when you're on the same frequency of it. So this isn't about, okay, I gotta do this. It's not about making a checklist of things that you have to do to get help for. This is about taking inventory of who you are and what you have to offer. And then do the happy dance. There is something to be said about getting your full body engaged in the frequency. I think dance is so powerful for us. It's why all cultures do it, right? So powerful for us to create. And so whenever you have a win, whether it be big or small, however you want to define it, move your body in the energy of that frequency. It will support you. Right. Whenever you complete something, do the happy dance that you feel good about, you feel proud of. It's just one little trick I've learned, right? I'm always wiggling. I'm always like, woo, yes, right? There's a reason for that, because I want my cells, are there 40 trillion cells? Somebody knows the answer to this. However many billion cells that are in my body to get the message and to hold that frequency for me. All right, so everybody got those? Thank you so much for being here today to start 2023 together. I love you and I'm so grateful to you. And I wish you the most amazing year ever. And I'll see you in 2026.
Yes.
Indeed. Absolutely. And we'll officially end it, but I'll stay on and answer any questions for folks if they have any. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Shuronda.
Shuronda.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was nice meeting you.
Absolutely. You as well.
Thank you.
Thank you
Shuronda.
so much.
Activity was so